Hey class, Mrs. Gilling here with another video assignment, this time giving you some instructions for your Unit 4 project, our last project in the course. Before we do that though, it's time for the joke of the unit. Alright, when chickens graduate from law school, they become legal tenders. Oh, that's a good one. This one also makes me kind of hungry. All right, let's go on to your project. So here's an overview. So you're going to catch up with Jordan and Christina in their investigation. You will answer questions in lessons 16, 18, and 20, and here are those questions. So here's a lesson 16 questions, and ignore this up here. It may say lesson 22 in yours. It's because since this is an alt course, I had to reorganize some things a little bit, and so it really is lesson 16. So, in the course of stealing and destroying evidence, Monica committed several other crimes: mugging a police officer, setting fire to a crime scene, and breaking into the police station. Her actions have directly threatened public safety and have made it difficult to prosecute other criminals. Someone will have to pay to repair the damage caused by the fire and break in. And this is where your question comes into play. And it's actually going to be a short essay, 3 to 4 paragraphs. And a paragraph is 3 to 5 sentences. So the first thing you want to answer is, if you were the judge in charge of sentencing, what criminal sanctions would you use to punish Monica, deter future crime, and ensure public safety? Then you want to answer, what corrections programs would you use to support rehabilitation and compensate victims? Now, don't turn in a chart for this one. You can use a chart to help you keep track of your thoughts, but you do need to write it in an essay form. So the 3 to 4 paragraphs, just letting me know, you could break it up in something like this. You could have one paragraph where you let them know what the criminal sanctions you would use to punish Monica are. Then you could write another paragraph where you explain how you would deter future crime and ensure public safety. And then you could write a third paragraph where you explain what corrections programs you would use to support rehabilitation and compensate victims in this case. So that's how I would personally break it up. You can do it a little bit differently, but you do need to answer all of those questions and have at least 3 to 4 paragraphs for this one. So again, you can use a table like this to organize your thoughts, but don't turn in a table. Turn in the short essay in this question. Here's lesson 18. There's 3 questions. So here's a little background. Mabel Livingston is clearly guilty of hiring a private detective to cover up her son's crime. This led to property damage and left her son free to make trouble. However, Miss Livingston is an elderly woman. She has a long history of supporting charities in the community. She seems to care about people and is not likely to hurt them intentionally. Prosecutors could charge Miss Livingston with crimes such as obstruction of justice or conspiracy to destroy evidence. In most states, a typical sentence for those crimes would involve up to a $1,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail. What are the pros and cons of sending Miss Livingston to jail? That's your first question. And if you're confused about any of this information, remember to watch those videos, the criminal connection, the videos, because those give you this background information. So what are the pros and cons of sending Miss Livingston to jail? Make sure to write that using complete sentences. So in at least 3 sentences, tell me that. Number 2, what are the pros and cons of requiring her to pay a $1,000 fine? Remember, at least 3 sentences. Complete sentences. And then number 3, imagine that an 18-year-old high school student working a minimum wage job committed a similar crime. If that 18-year-old and Miss Livingston both got a $1,000 fine and 6 months in jail, would that be fair? Or would identical sentences have a more serious impact on one of them? Again, complete sentences. And then the last thing you're going to do, imagine you are the probation officer asked to develop pre-sentence investigation. Let me start over. Imagine you are the probation officer asked to develop pre-sentence investigation reports for Miss Livingston, Louis Livingston, and Monica, the private detective. Choose one of these characters. Use the information you recall from the story to outline the PSI. Focus on identifying key information, not on writing complete sentences. Fill in each section in the table. Depending on the character you choose, you may not have information from every section. So for this one, you will use a table. And if you don't, I know it can be hard in the system to make the actual functions. You can, write criminal act and then a space and then write the answer. So for this one, you're going to come up with the pre-sentence report. And you're just going to pick one of the characters. You don't need to do all of them, but pick one of them and then write what were their criminal acts, what's their criminal history, what's their school and work history, what's their physical and mental health, what are the mitigating factors, and what's your sentencing recommendation and the reason for that recommendation. You may not have all of the information in the videos and in the course detail for it. Just do the best that you can. And if you don't know, say unknown. Now, if I get one back and all of it's unknown, then I'm going to send it back to you like, nah, you need to do some more research. but you should be able to fill that in pretty good. And after that, in lesson 20, you will submit the entire thing, and that's your project. When you're done, you're almost done with the course. You only have just a little bit left. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. Thanks, guys.